meeting to order. This is a meeting of the, it's a regular meeting of the Ortonville Village Council, Monday, December 19th. It is 7 o'clock. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Oh, roll call if I could have one, Courtney.
Hayden?
Here.
George?
Here.
Green?
Here.
Nigel? Here.
Here.
Mary?
Here. Okay, between roll call and approval agenda, I just want to make a couple of comments that aren't on the agenda, but just something I want to mention. On Friday, I got a memo or an email from Larry, and he said he had some concerns about the appointments, and he is absolutely right. I'm tardy in those. I shouldn't be. General village law requires me to get that done in December, but I assure you it's forthcoming, and there's just some reasons for it. But it was well taken, and you are correct about that. On to those things that have kind of been a bit of a, well, you know, we're down a councilman. That kind of doesn't help us out. Our clerk quit on us. The DPW seems to be in some disarray with its employees. The village office, of course, now I keep forgetting that it's closed on Fridays, but since the last time we've held a meeting, the village office has been open for 14 days. We're on to 30 days now. The village office is only open for 6 more days in this calendar year, so anything that's going to get done at the village office without a clerk, and while we're struggling to keep the wheels on the wagon, it's just causing me a little bit of delay. So please be patient. I'm going to get that out very, very soon. I want to double check with everybody too before I make any recommendations that you guys are going to approve, that people want to have the committee spots that they've either had before or that they're still interested, or maybe some of you have gotten busier lately and it's going to be too time consuming to even assume those things. So I want to speak with everybody about those positions and then put something out so everybody knows and everybody's going to get something that they want. At least I hope so, as close as we can get it. But that's going to come out soon. I just got village email as of today, so that kind of took a little bit of time.
And I left your keys on my desk, but I have those for you as
I'll
well.
grab them. Also, you know that prior to the last meeting, we all spent an awful lot of time in that office going through those boxes of marijuana applications and things of that nature. And of course, as you can tell, I'm laying excuse after excuse after excuse on why I'm where I'm at right now, but they still are the fact of the matter. So I want to also take a look at the committees that sometimes the layers of bureaucracy just kind of overtake us a bit, where we keep referring something from this committee to this committee to this committee, and much like Melanie's way sign actions and things like that, they just get bogged down. And I know everybody's well-intended and the committees do good work, and the committees are there for our benefit. The whole reason we even have committees is that it makes our job a little easier. It's supposed to. But it isn't supposed to be something that just drags on and on and on, perpetually referring from this one back to this one and back to this one again. So those are the reasons why I'm not as, I just don't have that done yet. So that's where we stand with those. They'll come out really soon. And as you mentioned, Larry, thanks for that, because it is in the general law that we follow. That's good. It's supposed to be done at the December meeting.
Our last committee appointments, though, just so you know, they weren't done until February.
Well, hey,
So,
then I'm just,
just-
I'd hate to say I'm ahead of the curve, but hey, everything I said the last 5 minutes, let's forget that.
I wish I would have said
I'm
it
gonna just
sooner,
call
but I
this
wanted
meeting to
to
order.
hear.
I'm gonna adjourn it and start all over again. So, all right, we got to have a little bit of that.
Holds true for our rules of procedure. They're supposed to be.
And I've got a copy of that. I'm reading them with Ryan, and I want to get those right too, because I don't want to say it's a package deal, but we should get those done very, very soon. The policies, procedures, and the committees, and the assignments. So please look for it, but thanks for the little bit of patience. Now we can move on to item 4, which is the approval of the agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda for December 19th, 2022.
Support.
All those in favor?
Can we make one addition?
Oh,
Sorry to, the minutes from the Ortonville Community Historical Society. I left a paper copy in front of you. I did not add them to the electronic packet yet, but we would like to add those to the consent agenda.
Okay.
They can
I'd
be
like
consent.
to amend my motion to add the Ortonville Community Historical Society minutes of November 8th to the consent agenda and approve as presented or as revised.
And Matt, I picked up my copy late, so it was in mine, so I did have the Historical Society in my packet. Yeah, but we can include it with Melanie's motion. And those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? We do have that all done. Approval of council minutes from November the 28th. The minutes here seem longer than the meeting actually was, but hey.
Because they have the tally sheets.
Yeah, there's just a lot of sheets in here, but glancing over it, it looked to me like a pretty accurate version of what happened.
Oh, I make a motion to approve the council minutes of November 28th, 2022.
Support?
Okay, moved and supported. Let's vote to approve those. Say aye if you're in favor.
Aye.
And if you're opposed, nay? No nays, those get accepted. Acceptance items, we have a financial report and revenue expenditure report for November, several pages with lots of numbers on them. And typically the bottom line one is the one we're the most concerned with, but I had a chance to look at them, but I haven't done any budgets, so I'm not really clear what is coming out of what account, but I'm sure you guys all have a handle on that.
Get there.
Do we have to motion first before we discuss, or?
Oh, yes, we actually do.
Okay.
For acceptance or
Not on
disbursement?
acceptance.
Yeah, acceptance.
Oh,
we
the
don't.
acceptance doesn't have to be motioned?
Accept,
Hey,
yeah.
Melanie, free reign.
I was just wondering, like, I see the marijuana applications revenue 30,000. How does the money, how does that work as far as, you know, like the one company is 200,000 and then blah, blah, blah? How does that work?
So far, we've only received money for the 6 applications, $5,000 apiece.
Right.
The rest we have not received
How does that work?
as of
though?
today.
Does it work after they're approved and then we receive it?
I think it's more of the honor system. It's voluntary on their part, to be honest with you.
Okay. Okay.
We'd have to check their applications, I think speak to when and how we will receive that
Yeah,
money.
probably
if it's
does, but I'm
upon-
sure we're gonna
Okay.
have to litigate it, because I'm sure once they got it in hand, they could care less if they follow through on their commitment.
If you ever see me running down South Street, it's because
Yeah,
I've
well, you have a
been
check in
handed
your
a check
hand.
for 200
Yes.
grand.
We'll follow you and be happy to give
Start
you
the
ideas
receipt
on what to
process
spend it
and
on.
I'm running.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Yes. But Melanie, that being said, there's no reason we can't be diligent and keep on them about that.
I just, because we've never been through this, I don't know how.
Right,
that
because
process
that,
works.
part of that is why we voted for certain
Yeah,
ones.
it kinda is.
Yeah.
Some had a
It
little
is.
sweeter deal than others.
Yes,
And
they
it-
did.
The quick update for you doesn't fit here at all, but letters were sent out by the 8th. They were sent out on the 8th to
Yeah.
each applicant, and then they're going to begin working with the planning commission on site plan and all that good development process. So
All right.
most of it's to planning commission at this point.
I think they're
But
probably
stay tuned.
hoping that they don't have any hiccups along the way, because that will determine how and if they distribute any funds in kind to the village for our purposes.
I was just gonna say that, they probably won't distribute anything
Yeah,
until they actually have.
that's
an
right, till they swing the doors
Well,
open.
I wouldn't.
And and hit the cash register, and then we might. But we can still be diligent and stay on them about it. And this was an acceptance item, so the comments are fine, and we can make a motion to approve them. Or do we just
No,
accept
no
them? Do we
motion,
don't have
just
to vote on them?
accept. Yep.
Okay.
No vote.
The disbursements we do via roll call, so let's move right on to those. 7A, payables. Looks like a little over 20 grand.
I'll make a motion to approve the disbursements from November 16, 2022 through December 15, 2022 in the amount of $20,132.76.
Support?
Roll call, please. Courtney? Yeah, let's have some. Anybody have any questions about it?
No.
Yeah, you gotta be quick around here if you wanna make a comment. We tend to jump right to the voting part. Maybe a little quicker than need be, but if anybody has any questions about it,
did, but Ryan answered before the meeting. So.
Oh, okay.
There you
Well,
go.
you got your answers. Good to know. Now we can move on.
Hayden made the motion, right?
Yeah, I
I
think,
support
Kay did.
See, you caught me off guard asking for the vote so fast. George,
Yes.
Green,
Yes.
Hayden,
Yes.
Nivell,
Yes.
Randazzo.
Yes.
Quisenberry.
Yes. Public comments. Wow, last meeting I made a long speech about the change in public comments, but it seems like that's not gonna apply today at all. Is there anyone that came to the meeting today that would like to speak to the village council? We're gonna have to get one of those things where you take a number when you come in the.
Yeah.
Right?
This is overwhelming.
All right, there are no public comments, we can move past that, and we'll go to the approval of the consent agenda, which is the minutes of the planning commission, personnel committee, and, is it that other one that you threw in there, the?
The attorney.
minutes of
Historical Society.
Society, yeah, okay.
And the attorney invoice.
The attorney invoice, that was a few pages.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Support?
All right, moved and supported, does anybody have any questions or want to comment further on the consent portion of this agenda?
Oh,
Well, the agenda was
yes,
amended.
because the agenda was, and then, I'm going to do that. I'm going to,
As amended,
yeah, I'm going to, as amended in our agenda, or approve the consent agenda as amended with the
Hey,
historical.
that's perfect.
Yeah, thank you. No, I think that's a good idea. Yeah, because it's both areas. Thank
Melanie,
you.
we know you're quite a wordsmith.
It was really, downhill all over the place.
I'll tell you what, I haven't read that in a long, long time, but I got a chuckle when Ryan referred to you as a wordsmith.
Really?
You didn't see that in the memo?
The word, oh,
You'll
no.
see it. You'll see it, it'll come
Yeah,
up.
well.
If we can have a vote on this, please.
Giving me a hard time always.
All in favor? We're not spending money on this? No money's going out the door. I thought we were paying the,
back here.
I know, I thought we were paying the attorney.
We already did in disbursements.
Okay, we don't wanna pay him twice.
No.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, items from trustees. Melanie, I'm gonna come to you last, only because I start over on this side. I think your section might be the longer
That
one.
would be you bet.
Yeah, Pat, you get to go first.
Yeah, regarding the Historical Society,
Uh-huh,
I'll tell you, and I know you said in this, the last meeting, Ken, we can combine the committee stuff with comments in general. So my comments in general, this would be primarily in regards to Christmas in the village. I mean, we were out of power. I was checking my house, there's a bands, or the parade over there on Ball Street, 9:30, 10:30, 11:30, this isn't gonna happen, you know?
well, it was nerve-wracking.
My Chief Quapis there, I thought he's just gonna tell people it's not there, and let's go on. And then all of a sudden, maybe 11 or 12:45, boom, and the parade starts.
Seemed like a better parade than I remember, or at least it seemed like a really good,
It was nice.
parade wasn't lacking, I didn't think.
So I thought, I just call that the first miracle this
Yeah,
season.
Christmas miracle.
Miracle. Anyway, in that parade, we did have, the Historical Society was represented by our own float, which was nice. I'll tell you, I was impressed too with activity in the village. I just figured a lot of people maybe would stay away due to the original doom in the weather forecast. But when I was there for about an hour and a half, I thought the attendance in general was very good. I thought that the attendance at the museum and mill and a blacksmith shop was very good. So we were selling our baked goods and had cocoa and things like that. And I think the number that Judy came up with was, I think we cleared about $300 on that, which was good. So we had that. Also, some of the highlights, we had our own piano player, Alan, and he was very good. He was dressed for the part, and he performed quite well on the piano. Let's see what else I had there. So yeah, in general, it was real good. Oh, I wanted to give a shout out to the National Honor Society. We had at least a dozen National Honor Society students there.
Really?
When I got there, I basically just tried to stay out of the way and let them do their work. So yeah, very, very nice that they did
They're
that.
the smart kids.
Yeah. And at this point in time, that'll be the last event for the Historical Society until they're shut down for the winter until next April.
Do they hold meetings in the meantime, or not really? It just as
No,
needed?
So no meetings.
Okay, no meetings till April.
So from a committee standpoint, Ken, that's what I'm doing, and I really like it.
Well, I was gonna ask it personally, but I'm glad to hear that you do.
I'm having a lot of fun with it, so.
I was reading the minutes of that, and it seemed
I'm a
like
card-carrying member now, I suppose.
it just seemed like a good, I don't know if that's something you wanna be carrying cards to the Historical Society, but,
So, yeah, I'm having a good time with it. So, yeah, they're shut down till next April.
okay, great.
Yeah, and I'll say one last thing as far as a highlight, I thought of the whole season on that, and that was, and Mayor Mattis had a lot to do with that too. But it was very, very impressive to go from doom and gloom to just a beautiful building, painted-wise, that was sitting there dormant. And the work on that particular building wasn't just slapping on a couple of coats of paint. There was some
Bob.
It looks nice.
and Bob Huxwell, yep, and his crew, and then we had Scott coming in there. But I was very, very impressed and proud of the building, the way it looked for this year, yeah. Thank you. I was only
Okay.
talking, sorry.
And by the way, I'll, at the end of the meetings, I still would like to come back to people who might have something they want to throw in. Because you don't always know at this point in the meeting that something's gonna hit you in 20 minutes and you wanna bring it back up. So that door doesn't close, you don't have to do it.
Okay, I think that's cool.
Okay, thanks, Pat. Kay?
I came down for the tree lighting, Pat was there too. It wasn't really well attended, and it's too bad, because, you know, I like the tree down there where it is, that's where it belongs. That's kind of the hub, versus down here, though, you know, looked very nice, but there just wasn't as many people. I just wonder if there's something we can do to make that more, a little more. But not tonight, we're not gonna figure that out, but I'm just, in general, I was saying that. We also, as you've seen in the minutes, and Ken alluded to earlier, we've been meeting a lot.
Seemed like
as
two
the
meetings, the
personnel
6th
committee.
and the 12th or something like that? You guys
Yeah.
had meetings?
Due to there being the clerk vacancy, we interviewed four people were interviewed last week. We have set up two, what do you call it, comeback?
Follow-up?
Follow-up
Okay.
interview with everybody, because some people could come to one or two and they couldn't come to the other two. So the two that we feel we liked real well, we're gonna re-interview tomorrow. And one is tentatively right now for 11, and the other is at 1. Hoping, the real hope here is that we can get the person hired for the first of the year.
Okay, and that would be a wonderful goal.
Yeah. So, I anticipate that's gonna happen. And
Yeah,
excited,
keep our
excited
fingers
to move
crossed.
forward. The DPW, they're kind of handling that on their own, which they should, because, you know, we don't, on the personnel committee, know
Can't-
much about DPW work.
Can't drive a
So-
backhoe.
Right, right, don't want to. And Ryan and Bob will do those interviews and let us know what their
Okay.
choices
And I
then.
think there's something later on the agenda coming up about the DPW too.
Okay.
So we'll probably get into it in a little more
No,
depth.
that's fine, that's all I was gonna mention.
Okay.
And so, yes, and we have been actively working on, well, the rules and procedures, we did finish, but then the policies. We have most of the policies done. We sent it to the attorney, and he really dragged his feet. And I believe they came back, didn't they, Ryan, or has he still not sent them all back?
Not all, so he's reviewed several sections, but not all. And then there's a few sections we don't have,
Like months.
that we haven't, they'd be new to our policy, and we don't have them put together yet.
Okay. You know, we had thought at one time, the goal would be to give it all to everybody at one time, but I'm at the point, and I think so are some of the other people on the committee, that whatever's finished and whatever the attorney has written off on, or signed off on, that we bring it to council for your review, and at least have that, and there's some bigger issues that we got into, and we can always add to it, but at least the core would be there of the procedures. So anyways, that's coming.
Okay.
That's coming soon. I wish it was already there, but anyways, that's all I have.
Okay, thanks, Kay. Larry?
Yeah, regarding the IT committee, we have not met. Some things got delayed and put on hold. We had some quotes we were waiting on for the treasurer's computer to replace, and I know we wanted to compare a desktop and a laptop. I'm not sure. Did we get both those quotes yet, Ryan?
I think so.
Okay, but with the clerk leaving, we haven't had a chance to follow up on some of those things. I do want to say Christmas in the Village was rather challenging, interesting, and I think it was a good turnout considering how cold it was and windy. The power was interesting. What I was found interesting was our street lights were still on with the power out, and I found out that's because apparently they tie into the township building, which had a backup generator. So, I don't know, that was rather interesting seeing that. But our DPW crew did a good job during that. There was a little hiccup because I was on the CERT team too, supporting the event, and I give kudos to the CERT team and to the DPW for getting barriers up and helping keep everything safe. There was a little minor hiccup with one of the barricades because apparently there was an older version of the permit that was put in that showed a street closure on Cedar Street, and later it was changed so that Cedar Street would remain open, but a barricade got set up down at one point and had to be addressed. But other than that, everything went really good, and like I said, I commend the DPW crew for their efforts, the CERT team. And also more recently, the DPW, I saw them out Sunday, even though we didn't get much snow, they were out there plowing and clearing the sidewalks for all the residents, so by Monday morning, everything was good. So I appreciate that too.
They'll be busy this week.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's gonna stay
Good
cold.
practice
Yeah.
for this snowstorm coming up later the week, I suppose. And I think that's it from, well, I guess one thing is, I know we're talking about, just be clear, I know we've talked about several different policies. We have our personnel policy manual. There's also the council's rules of procedure too, and those are two separate things.
That was the one I was referring to, was the council rules.
And, yeah, so, yeah, just make sure when people talk about policies, there's different.
Right, I
Yeah.
thought I put them
did.
separately.
Yeah,
Those are completed.
yeah, those are.
Not that we can't change them.
Right.
So,
Right, well,
If we want to.
they're
But
made
those-
to be a living document that,
But we do have to at least rubber stamp that we still want to use the same rules of procedure, so we do need to complete.
I think those will come out at the same time as the committee things all at once, because they'll probably, in some ways, might go hand in hand.
We rehashed the rules of procedure quite a bit at the last incoming council. And that's why they didn't get approved until I think it was March or April or something like that in that year.
There's a new sheriff in town.
Well, again, there's some
Well,
things in
it's-
there.
We're supposed to do that every time
you know,
there's every time. following
Right, and
elections to
on
read.
your behest, I'm familiar with this, but I refamiliarized myself with it, leading up to today, so I know that there's some flexibility that we have in that, and just, look over it with a fine tooth comb and make sure everybody likes it.
Yeah, and I don't think the state's out there monitoring our meetings, trying to look for ways where we might misstep here and there. As long as we have our best intentions and do our best to try to make sure we.
That's probably all we could ever hope for, is
That's all we can.
to just do our best here and hope that we stay in compliance, all the way around.
Exactly.
Right.
And that's basically it for me then.
Okay, cool. Tony, hey, I got your little Parks and Rec memo. That was that was timely.
That was great.
Came right at the right time.
Well, first off, I'm gonna say the word, I apologize for missing last month's meeting, but then again, I'm not.
Well, no,
because
Well,
you're
yeah,
I just
really
became,
so.
first grandson, Gavin Richard.
That's cool. Congrats.
And, just a couple things. In my notes, I put down there about retrieving the signs. I did finally get all 3 signs, so we're good with that. They're in my truck. As far as the awards for November, and I was just mentioning this to Melanie earlier, with this being Christmas time, nothing really going on in November. I'm gonna run around, look at some different houses, especially now that the snow is down, and in the dark to see how the lights look. So I am going to issue those in January. Plus that'll give time for the homeowners that win to come to our next meeting for their awards. Ryan and I are set up for a meeting tomorrow at noon. And for the concession stand, yes.
Great. Good.
Oh yeah, I did talk to Roz. I pretty much see her almost 2 to 3 times a week going into the
Senior center.
township offices. And so currently everything with the pickleball court is still a go, mid-spring, early summer time. The family movie nights that we were having in here, we're not gonna do those next year. The turnout we thought we were gonna get, it was decent, but it wasn't enough to support doing it. So we're just gonna go back to our normal family movie nights, and we'll get those dates. I think Fred and I are gonna talk about those in January. That's pretty much all I got.
Okay, thanks, Tony. And Melanie, I know you had a couple things.
All right, yes, okay. Well, it's not that I take a long time, because I have a lot of committees. I only have one committee, I'd be real quick, just for the record. Planning Commission update, we're scheduling a public hearing for rezoning of the Narren Park area for our next meeting, which is on the 3rd.
Yep, Tuesday
Okay.
the 3rd.
Tuesday, the 3rd. Pardon? Narren Park.
The north end of Narren
North end
Street,
of where the big
abutting
property.
Narren Park.
Okay. So that will be on planning commission. We're still going through with our zoning ordinances, and we are really getting through. We've done it in record time according to Ryan, we've done it
Our
in half
RC
the
planner
time.
said it
is-
usually takes several years.
Yeah, and we're going on 4 months, 5 months?
Started in, I wanna say
Oh, yeah,
But-
6 months.
Yeah.
Breaking any
So we are doing really well with that. So kudos to the planning commission. I love that group. It's been my favorite group that I've had. Wayfinding, we'll be talking about under the manager's report a little bit more. I requested that some RFQs go out for bidding, and we'll talk about that next. So I wanted to make a comment about wayfinding and Heritage Garden. We're waiting on the lights for the Heritage Garden still. But it has come to my attention that there are business owners that feel that it is, I guess, not my fault, but I dropped the ball because signs haven't been erected. And I want to make it very clear, I never dropped the ball. In fact, I carried that ball very well. I had many people, I had to work schedules around during a very difficult time for 4 different committees. We did what we were supposed to do, which was come up with a proposal and get it approved. Our job was not to produce the signs and have them put in the ground. That was not our job. It's still not our job unless that changes. If Kenny decides to, or President Quisenberry decides to make a committee to do that, so be it. But that was not the charge of the committee that I was in charge of. Same with Heritage Garden. We did exactly what we were supposed to do. We have the proposal. It was approved. We have a vision. We got a grant. Lights are being ordered. And those will continue to be, I'm sure, focus of this committee or this council, I hope. But in no shape or form was I the one who was supposed to go out and do all that. And I think there's a wrong preconceived notion out there. So I just wanted to make that very clear, that I did what I was supposed to do, and our committees did very well. Personnel, Kay already did that. Christmas tree, I just want to make a comment. Yes, Kay, I think we could do more. I went down with my neighbor and like decorated some of it too, because it looked like a Charlie Brown tree a little bit. All right, we need to get a tree that can hang ornaments though next year. That it's the wrong kind of Christmas tree. So I will help with anything, and it's lovely, and I'm not, but it's just, the branches are the wrong kind. It's very soft, and you put a bulb on it, just and drops the ornaments. So, but I'm with you, Kay. I think we could jazz that up a little bit. And the last thing I just wanted to say was, I know sometimes our council feels like we're one step forward and two back. So I thought I'd end on a good note. We have accomplished many things. First thing, I was Old Mill and the painting. I think it's wonderful. Wayfinding, Heritage Garden, the policies and procedures of personnel, job descriptions, pickleball court, ball field concession stand, a trail group and initiatives, zoning ordinance update, master plan, pursuing grants, marijuana dispensaries, time capsules, now that I just read that. But I just want to say thank you. I really enjoy working with this council, and the fact is we are moving forward and we are doing some good things. So on that,
Improvements.
pardon me?
Don't forget the road improvements. Those are major for our people.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
there's a lot. That was just, those my notes, just so we keep a positive perspective, because it's easy to think to ourselves that we're not doing enough. We're getting there. And thank you. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
You're right. Sometimes accomplishments go unnoticed, or at least, don't get commented on enough. So,
Right.
Thanks for that, and I agree with you on all of those accomplishments.
Yep. And there is a public hearing.
Yeah.
On the 3rd. Yep. 7 o'clock. Yep. I'm sorry.
Put it on the list tomorrow, Tony.
Ryan, it sounded like tomorrow you have interviews, a meeting, and then interviews again, or something?
There's another interview before that for a DPW laborer as well, but yeah.
Busy day
I'm
tomorrow.
also the interim clerk. I added to my email signature, so.
On the new business, the approval of the sewer study, apparently we're right on time with this. The township's done their portion. We just have to look at this sewer study and keep the ball rolling so that we don't become part of the system getting bogged down. So
Right.
we're just a small component in that big system, but we still gotta do our part. And this, I assume that this thing that you sent out here is the whole thing that we're gonna approve?
Yep, that's the preliminary sewer master planning services document and agreement with the whole scope of work that Roe would approve.
I make a motion to approve the preliminary sewer master planning services project with Row Engineering using $22,500 of the village's American Rescue Plan Act funds.
Support?
Okay,
I would like discussion.
yes, I was just gonna come to you for the discussion.
Okay.
You can start.
Yes, one thing when I reviewed this is I did notice that the scope as it was stated and what was presented in the packet information still included Brandon High School and Beaky's Food World Plaza. I did ask Ryan about that. He followed up with Row Engineering, and they clarified that because this is no longer looking at a local sewer plant for Ortonville, but rather tying into the Kearsley Creek Interceptor, that they would in fact adjust the scope to be just the village of Ortonville. And it would be the same price, but they would reduce the scope. to
Same
just the
price,
village of
okay.
Ortonville. I'm sure the same amount of work has to go in, that just
Yeah.
changes like a little bit of the area
Okay.
covered by it. So I think that was, you know, an appropriate adjustment that will be made to this. I just want to bring that to everybody's attention, that I did question that, and I already got an answer back.
Are they gonna correct it on the agreement?
Yeah, I spoke with the engineer, the project manager, and another person from their office today who all said, yeah, we'll adjust the study. It's likely that on their end, it's quite possible that Groveland's, you know, study is gonna say, when the village builds, you know, phase 7 that includes this part of the village, we're also gonna do Beaky's Plaza at the same time.
Why
Or,
wouldn't we?
you know, things like that. So
Right.
that's why from their end, it makes sense. The 2004 study is also from a time before the KCI was in question or even possible, the Kearsley Creek Interceptor. So that's why the older study had that, just all kind of lumped together. It was if you're doing the whole area all together.
Yeah,
So,
back then, we were
yeah.
looking at ways to bring in some other units to help pay for it. So including Brandon Schoolship and the Plaza helped to spread the cost a little bit more from our residents. So in this case, that's not an impact for us, so no need to consider that.
Okay, any further discussion on the preliminary sewer master planning from anyone? Okay, we're allocating money for this one, then we get to all say whether we want to or not.
Hayden,
Yes.
Rydell,
Yes.
Randazzo,
Yes.
George, Green,
Yes.
Quisenberry.
Yes. Okay, and with that, I lost my spot, but,
Jeffrey Jackson.
yep, here we go. Jeffrey Jackson, been with us 90 days. We're here to review and also adjust his pay structure if deemed necessary. There was a nice little write-up there about that Bob says he's doing a really good job and catching on quick, and he's willing to teach new people some of his skills that he's brought over here. It sounds like we had a few ones that didn't stick around for very long before, and that's led us to where we're at.
I make a motion to update Jeffrey Jackson's pay rate to 22 per hour effective January 1, 2023.
Support.
Any further discussion other than what's been provided in our packets from Bob and from Matt? Or Ryan, yeah, Matt. I'm reading.
Or just call me Mayor.
No, but I'm reading the DDA meeting from this morning, and he was the guy sitting here, so that's the reason for the mistake on that. Roll call vote, please.
Green,
Yes.
Hayden,
Yes.
Rydell,
Yes?
Randazzo,
Yes.
George, Quisenberry.
Yes. Okay, that takes care of that. The next item is item C, personnel policy, employee benefit section approval. I was speaking with, Matt this morning about, about the fact that we had to have this done we had to get this done for, you told me the reason?
New employees.
New
Incoming.
employees, that's it.
Yes, we do.
And I've heard mention of this in the past few months anyway, that it's gonna be very welcome and well-needed.
Especially with the clerk position and DPW position. So this will be, this is timely to approve.
We did spend a lot of time on this one.
Yep. And people have a
Something.
right to know what they're getting into when they
Absolutely.
take a job here.
Absolutely.
And we have an obligation to them just like they do to us. So I think this is a great idea, and it's a good document.
Make a motion to adopt the employee benefits section of the personnel policy as presented. Take
Support.
effect on January 1st, 2023.
Support.
Okay, That's just a policy, so we can go, anybody in favor, say aye.
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 Those opposed, that one's good to go. On to the Old Town Hall accessibility. Melanie, you sent out that little diagram and things that you had got some, the village got some bids to have that brought up to code so it can further help
Correct,
the
and
Heritage
that's the
Park project.
first step in, actually then being able to do the vision of the Heritage Garden redesign space as well. So, this was brought up before. We've gotten a bid from one of our local builders who we do quite a bit of work with through the village. And because this is, up to, cost that, the village manager can truly approve on his own, but I thought I should have it here first and have all of us, support and approve it if we wish to.
Even if you can, it doesn't hurt for us to approve it anyways. Kind of have his back a little bit, I guess.
I make a motion to approve the barrier-free ramp for the Old Town Hall and, in accordance to the Heritage Garden space redesign not to exceed $8,000.
I'll support it because I just have a question.
Moved and supported, we can discuss it further if you want, but the outline that Melanie gave seemed
The,
good enough for me.
well, I'm just talking about the quote here.
Contract, yeah.
This was done
Yep.
April 20, is he still gonna work with this, or do we have to have a new one?
We know materials costs alone have changed quite a bit since April, so we will review the price. That's why I think a not to exceed number makes a lot of sense.
Okay.
Just a little wiggle room.
Yeah. And actually, prices have come down
Yeah.
in lumber since that time of crazy, but, that number should cover what, yeah.
And I could just throw in this contractor, I don't really know him personally, but he's certainly local and he's here in the village,
He's
so
done other
that
work
makes.
for the village,
that
too.
makes good,
Yeah.
that makes good sense to keep our money in town.
Yep.
Okay,
Do have just one question about it. Do we know if this includes, like, if the flagpole needs to be moved, would that be included in this?
Not in this. Bob would have to.
I was trying to figure out before the meeting, looking at, based on the diagram here, how it would fit, and it looks like
Yeah,
it's gonna be
no,
really
Bob would
close.
have to move that,
Accessibility.
and Bob is aware of that. He's been through the diagram back in April and May. Yeah, so our DPW would do that portion. And there's something else out there too that they have to move, and I should.
Railing.
Oh, there's bushes that are gonna be.
yeah, this
Oh,
probably.
yeah, that will just,
There's a structure in.
was there a-
Shrubbery work, and the
Yeah.
design's a little
Yeah,
bit
rock
different
or
than
whatever.
what's
there a
actually
plaque
there
or
right now.
something, but there's something else that Bob knows he
On
has
the
to.
left side.
Yeah. Yeah, I have to look, I can't remember, but yeah.
Anybody else have any more questions about the town hall accessibility ramp that we've just discussed? Well, let's have a vote. What do you say?
Randall,
Yes.
Grandeza,
Yes.
George.
Yes.
Green.
Yes.
Hayden,
Yes.
Woodbury.
Yes. Boy, Melanie, that one just flew right by.
Look at that.
We now move on to item 13, Village Manager Report. There's 4 items listed here. Village Manager Ryan Mattis, Matt Jenkins, just messing with you there.
I've called much worse things than that.
The wayfinding report, honestly, this is something I knew little or nothing about leading up to just a few weeks ago, but at this morning's DDA meeting, I found out a whole lot more about what that was all about. So, take it from there.
Yeah, so wayfinding, signage, and next steps, and I'll lean on trustee Nivelt as well. We budgeted for it for this fiscal year. The next step is to get to publish an RFQ, a request for qualification, so we can find the correct builder to proceed with the next step. So solicit, out to different builders, find the one we want to work with, and then get started on actually manufacturing signs and getting them placed in the spring of 2023, ideally, as soon as we can.
Okay, is there any any other communities that you're aware of that are maybe a step or two ahead of us in this process that we can maybe steal some of their
R&D.
good ideas and bad ideas?
Yep.
And basically just poach someone else's work?
Clarkston comes to mind. Yeah,
Okay.
there's several near and far that we can borrow from.
So we don't have to start at square
Recreating
one.
the
We
wheel.
can also, we can just get on the horn and make something happen.
It's gonna take a minute to get
Yeah.
together. It'll probably be after the first of the year is my guess, just with the nature of
Oh, that's fine.
workflows in
That's
the
fine.
village office currently, but it'll be very soon.
Okay.
So I do have one question then. Will we be seeing quotes by our next meeting?
Probably not with holidays. Our next meeting's January 23rd. Yes, thank you.
23rd.
23rd. It's likely an RFQ would have a deadline of probably mid-January, like the,
Okay.
Friday before or so. So it's, will we have stuff back by the 23rd? Probably. Will we have it all ready for a packet and ready to vote on? I'm guessing no.
Okay.
But
We
Thank
can,
you.
we
Just
can
to
just,
qualify the.
Can we say February
Building rule.
27th? We could have it in our packets then. For our February 27th, could we have them in our packet? The
To,
information,
to review and choose one? Do we want that to be a council
Or-
function? Do we want that to be a manager function, a wayfinding committee function? You
well,
tell
I
me.
would prefer manager function, because
City
it's
manager.
approved.
Yeah.
It's a budget
Somebody's gonna
board
do the
approved.
work and bring it to us, and we're gonna say, yay or nay.
Okay, so can you just let us know what you ordered by, is that what you'll do? Let us know what you ordered by the 27th? Or are we choosing, out of your 3 bids, are we choosing the bidder, or are you going to? I just wanna make sure we know so that,
I would open that up to council.
And I would say he's gonna present us with 3 bids, and we're gonna pick the one we like the best, which
Yes.
isn't always the cheapest.
Right.
so is that February? Is that that's what I'm asking, or is that January?
Melanie, what if we can get an update in January?
I would love
and
it.
vote on February?
I would love that.
Okay, that's gonna be the
Is
target.
that
It-
perfect?
I
That's-
just-
I don't
target
wanna
is
promise the
short of-
moon because I'm not sure we're gonna
Short of
hit it.
hitting a roadblock that you're gonna let us know, we can put that on the agenda for January update and February vote.
That would be fantastic.
And just to be clear, Ryan, this is just to select which company we're going to work with. We're not actually gonna be ordering signs in February.
At that, not until approved. Once we've decided we're working with, manufacturer X, then
we
we're
get 'em on the
gonna.
phone and say-
Okay, we're ordering, 2 gateway signs and a,
And we got some time to, maybe we can come up with a kind of prioritized list of
We
which
already
signs.
did, it's in the presentation.
yeah, we already voted on it.
So it's set to go, signs are already, all the dimensions that they need for fabricating, everything is done. Business
Okay.
owners will be very happy to hear about this.
Nice update, way to go. The 2023 meeting calendar is somewhere in here, I lost
Any
it.
questions there? Yours to hang on the fridge.
Yay.
Okay. I forgot to take proposed off the watermark. If you would like a copy without proposed on it, I will be printing some later this
Oh,
week
I
to
don't
hang in the
Care, as long as we've
display
got the
boxes on
names.
Right.
the office and here.
My
Questions on
electronic
calendar?
packet is clean, so I can-
I fixed it on that one, good, yeah. There's a lot to being a clerk, it's not that quick.
Right.
Any questions on 2023 calendar? All right, the next is the Asset Management Champion Program. You've probably seen this in information from SEMCOG and the Michigan Association of Planning and things like that. Great program, if you're interested, it's worth a look. It's an intensive 25 hours of learning. Most of it's online, there's a few mandatory sessions that you Zoom with people from around the state. It's included here because I would love to see other people participate. I completed the program a couple weeks ago. If you look at the
Congratulations.
map,
Woohoo!
thanks.
That
If you
was
look at the map
wonderful.
of where asset management champions exist in the state of Michigan, you'll see them in all the populated hubs, like around Detroit and around Grand Rapids and Lansing, and you'll see one dot in Ortonville.
Yeah. That's you.
Hey, way to go.
So we're on the map. It's a great program for learning to manage things like capital improvements. So we have a CIP that we're working with, but to understand where our drain projects and our road projects and all those things line up, program is extremely helpful.
Should that be our street person that we don't have right now?
Would be ideally.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It has more to do with streets and infrastructure than it does anything else?
More infrastructure than anything
Okay, when you say
else.
capital improvement, sometimes that can mean buildings and,
Equipment,
It's all of it.
everything.
yeah.
Yep, it's,
Assets is everything you own.
Right, anything you own.
I will give you my copy of our capital improvement plan that includes anything that costs more than about $10,000.
Wow, I couldn't wait to
it's
get
a-
my hands on that.
And you get it before Christmas.
Yeah, don't say I never got you.
You wanna wrap it up first?
Speaking of that, since you mentioned asset management here and all that, this also would, related to CIP but not in the CIP, is also like, our equipment life cycle plans, right? Life cycle management.
That's part of asset management, yes.
Yes, because I know that's not covered directly under CIP, because it's, a lot of that stuff's not that big, but it's also a very important aspect of asset management is your life cycle management, where you plan ahead for replacing things like computers, which fall under that range.
Right, there's, office equipment, even the carpet in, you know, if you pass that over to President Bryce, that would be wonderful.
That was a zinger.
Too soon? Too soon.
No, that was a good zinger.
Questions on that? Asset management.
Congratulations again.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Ryan.
Yeah,
A
that's
lot of
good, you
time.
got.
Next up is luminaries. You'll see the flyer for luminaries. I wanted to have a conversation about this because we are expecting some horrible weather this week.
Oh, boy.
Which may, I sound like Santa and Rudolph, but we might have to cancel luminaries because of the weather. Any thoughts about that?
Well-
Reasons being,
Blizzard.
Waste of money if you.
blizzard,
Yeah.
they'll be buried in snow.
Exactly.
We don't want to encourage people to go out in those conditions. They also tie up the DPW garage for several days, and our trucks need to be inside to start in the morning. So to build all the luminaries in the garage and not be able to start our trucks would be bad.
I would say you and Ken should work closely
Yeah,
together
that's gonna be
on that.
probably, and maybe more,
Last minute.
Bob, yeah, but it'll be, what do you need, 2 days' notice if you're gonna make
We're
them?
gonna build them Wednesday and Thursday, so we'd have to decide tomorrow at the latest.
Well, is that something that you and President Quisenberry and Bob Hawkswell could decide tomorrow and then put a notice out?
Well, there's 3 of us, so it shouldn't be a tie.
What-
Yeah.
Right.
What-
Okay.
Whatever you
We'll discuss
decide is
tomorrow.
okay with us,
Yeah,
because,
Okay.
you know, we understand.
Sometimes it's just really tough to look 4 or 5 days ahead on the weather and
Right.
find out it's a, beautiful sunny day, and we didn't do it,
the-
because we will be judged on that.
Yeah, we will.
I promise you.
Absolutely.
We're gonna hear criticism if we cancel it,
Yeah,
guarantee it.
yes, we will. But if you can't even get out to put them out
Okay,
there,
I'm not,
And I don't even have anything to do with that.
Yeah, I
But if people
understand that.
understand the reasons too, I mean, once you put them out and it snows on top of them and they're covered, no one's gonna light them.
they have about a 6-hour window of efficiency anyway, if that.
if that, and that's if people get out and light them.
Get out and light them, right?
Right. And the garage has to be available
It
for the
does.
snow
It
plows.
does, it does, because that's where we put them together.
Not to mention that, but if it's still snowing on the morning of the 24th, before we could even set luminaries, they would still have to get out.
Right,
Get
no,
out
no,
and
they
plow.
gotta be
Exactly.
made a couple days ahead of time. It's a,
Well, not that, but I mean, just to set them out.
I
even
know.
yeah,
I'm ready. I'm ready for that.
yeah, that's a good,
Well,
yeah.
sometimes we just have to make ourselves.
If anyone has complaints, they can refer to Matt Jenkins.
Bruce can
love
forward his
that.
phone right to you.
All right, President,
Do New Year's Eve.
Ken and Kay, did you hear that?
That will
No,
If anyone has any complaints because it's canceled,
refer
Brian-
to Matt Jenkins.
Ah, there you go.
poor man.
I think that's a great
President
idea.
Quisenberry, we will discuss tomorrow.
Yeah, we
there you
will,
go.
and,
Checking that
you know, I
forecast,
mean, we do need to make sure that we, if we do make that decision, that we have some of the most reputable weather experts tell us what's gonna
Yes.
be happening.
Right.
And, I mean, I'm no Sonny Elliott, but if we can get the best one out there.
We still,
Now you're dating yourself.
Yeah, I know, Sonny Elliott, yeah, Chuck
love
Gatica, all the
Sonny,
other
yeah.
old guys that are here and gone, Sonny Elliott, man,
I love
do you
him.
remember him? Who doesn't?
Well, I think Bob will be a big help with you guys need to do?
Yeah.
Because Bob,
We'll
we
discuss,
gotta
and
help.
maybe we delay assembling a day or two, so we
maybe we
can
delay
keep
one
trucks
day.
in the garage.
Well, let's put it this way.
Discuss
If-
all-
If this were to go forward, part of what you're requesting here is, where's the help gonna come from?
Yeah.
Right.
And
At least one group has already said with that forecast, we're not coming.
what
Oh,
group?
really? Do we have any other people saying they are coming?
Yes. But,
What about the student council?
we've gotten some help there before, yeah.
Okay.
Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, we've used them in the past.
Girl Scouts were a group who said, we're not going out in that weather
No,
on Saturday
no.
morning.
I mean, you can't blame them.
Yeah.
Right, I mean, I don't blame any, it just.
I'll bet you they'd sell cookies in that weather.
So I will appreciate council help communicating that once we decide how to proceed. So stay tuned for more. And we'll share it as widely and as broadly as possible. Thank you, Shelby, for your help with that. Okay.
Okay, that finishes the manager report, but I did, as I mentioned earlier, wanted to ask any of the council members if they want to just throw in their 2 cents on anything we've talked about tonight.
I'll throw my 2 cents on something. I noticed that we were being very efficient. We were able to get all of this business done in, looks like about an hour. I would like to say that
51 minutes.
Yeah.
our planning commission has been doing a tremendous job working on all of their stuff, and I've seen that a lot of their hours go 2-3 hours long. So, you know, they're doing a tremendous job. They put in a lot of hours, and if we do have more topics and items, we also could go longer if we need to get things done.
Well, when your committees are working well, it is easier for us, because the tough work's been done, all the heavy lifting is over with, and we're basically just gonna look something over, review it, ask a question or two, and then keep that ball
Move on.
rolling, because
Yep.
we just can't let things get bogged down and
Oh, I have a question.
Oh.
DDA, what, can you fill us in on that?
yeah, boy, I didn't say a lot today, did I, Courtney?
No,
It was an interesting meeting. I mean, we had a guy from Oakland County Main Street, is that who the guy was?
Tim Colbeck is
Yeah,
our
there you
Main
go.
Street Oakland County liaison.
Right, and they're gearing up because they got a very important thing in January and February, because you get some sort of approval from these folks, or you get your
Our
certification.
National
your-
accreditation.
Yeah, all that
We.
kind of,
Folks,
yeah,
you're on it.
we, the village, yeah.
You're a representative.
Yeah, they talked about that he couldn't get here in time because he was coming from Novi, but he did get here before the meeting ended and spent a good half hour, 40 minutes going over what Oakland County's looking for out of us and ways we can do to keep the process, or keep what we're trying to get. He sounded very encouraged that we're probably already there anyway, and it was just more like a pat on the back to keep the ball rolling. So it didn't sound to me like there was any concern or any, boy, we better get our act
Surprises
together.
at the end.
Yeah, so,
No, we're very fortunate to have a hugely effective executive director in Matt, who stays on top of everything, and the board members very well.
only one thing I was disappointed in. They had triple the public appearance that we had tonight.
I'll tell you, President Quizberry, that's a first.
Yeah, I was
We don't usually have
thinking,
any
you could
members
tell
of
the
the
one, they were, yeah, I'm with you. They may not make it to all of them.
Laura comes sometimes. Laura was there this morning. But yeah, that's a first for Roz.
She skipped
And
ours.
She didn't want to give you her calendar. That was saved for the DDA.
Came last time. We will be needed to help with the DDA accreditation process. So they always need to hear from elected officials and concerned
Don't they
citizens
like it?
and
I
things
mean, I
like
think
that.
I remember
So
doing a walkthrough when they're here and just, kind of
They do a tour and
make everybody know how interested we are and all
Right.
that kind of stuff.
It'll be the same as in the past for
Like
those of you who participated. There'll be a
Yep.
special
Kind
time.
of a-
So, yeah, Tim just
Yeah.
reviewed everything from the National Main Street Center that we have to do, and so we'll be working on that over the next 2 months. We applied for a couple grants, or we applied for one and are working on the other. Yeah, that's about it.
Okay, and Pat, I did say I was gonna come back to you specifically, so if just anything come out, anything that you heard the last half hour.
I guess I haven't been looking at the weather. I assumed that we would be stuffing the sand in a bag. I'll just let you know, Ryan and Ken, if as far as time-wise, I would be available Wednesday morning and Thursday morning to help out, so. And I only have to walk over there, so it's possible
far.
it's about a block and a half.
It could take you a while if we get this.
So if I don't make it home, you know, I'll be buried in some snowdrift or something, I don't know. But yeah, I planned on, until tonight, I assumed that we'd be stuffing sand in the
And
bags.
Pat, I'm with you. I didn't realize that we had some, some forecasts that weren't gonna be all that favorable. I knew it was gonna be cold, but I didn't think we were having any snow coming, but
So I'll just, on this, and if I'm available until you tell me I'm not, but I would like to know, you got my.
you can send something out once.
I will, we
let us
expect
know.
something tomorrow.
Pull the trigger,
Yes.
everybody will know.
We'll know.
So that's fine.
And
So-
I also think it's more important that if it is gonna get shot down, that the sooner that word gets out, the better.
Yes.
Just
Yes.
because
Yes.
then
That's why it'd be
expectations don't
tomorrow.
get as high as they might have been otherwise. I would like someone to adjourn this meeting for me.
Make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Okay, at the 1 hour and 1 minute mark, this meeting is adjourned.
Yeah.
Good job, Ken. Thank you.
Good.